Hey guys, welcome back to Loop Hub. Today we'll talk about how Trump sabotaged his own campaign. Let's head into it. Doing Trump a favor.
Said the White House needs transparency.
It didn't take long during the second day of public impeachment hearings, in which the House Intelligence Committee is questioning former ambassador of Ukraine, Maria Yovanovitch, to get not one, not two, but three examples of how President Donald Trump undermines those who try to defend him. Trump released a written summary on Friday of his first phone call on April 21 with the new Ukraine President, Volodymyr Zelensky. That's something Trump has been talking up over the last several days, as if it could somehow clear him of the improper things he said on the now famous second call on July 25, the one where he asked Zelensky to do him the favor of working with his private lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, on an investigation on his political rival Joe Biden. This committee's ranking Republican, David Nunes of California, was so eager to cooperate that he read the whole thing out loud during his opening statement, hiding information.
More on how this will affect the race for the White House with just 32 days to go before Election Day.
And yet, as the national security journalist Marcy Wheeler noted, the new call record backfired in two ways. For one thing, the original White House readout of the call claimed that Trump had pushed Zelensky to clean up corruption, but there was no mention of that in the call record released on Friday. For another, it turns out that Trump, in the April call, had already invited Zelensky to visit the White House. This contradicts a point Republicans tried to make on Wednesday, during the first day of public hearings, that Trump's delay in scheduling the visit and delivering military assistance after Congress had already appropriated the money for it represented a prudent wait for an assessment of a new leader. As it turns out, Trump was perfectly prepared to host Zelensky after he realized he could use the invitation to leverage help from the 2020 campaign, as Yovanovitch began to testify, and just about the point where she said that she felt personally threatened by Trump's comments about her in the July 25 call, Trump then tweeted a personal attack on her. As a committee chair, California Democrat Adam Schiff pointed out, this continued that Trump was engaging in a pattern of witness intimidation, a crime perhaps just as bad for the Republicans trying to defend Trump. However, this kind of petty and nasty attack put them in a position of defending the indefensible. As if to make that point, Republican Representative Ellie Stefanik of New York told reporters during a break that she disagreed with Trump's tweet. In other words, Trump managed to provide evidence for the point Democrats were making, and did so in a way that Republicans couldn't stomach, discrediting his supporters.
An emboldened left will launch a full-scale assault on American life.
But Trump's tweet did more than that. Schiff broke into the Democratic Council's questioning to read it to Yovanovitch to get a reaction, a moment that made for riveting television. That undermined the big talking point that the White House had pushed and Republicans had repeated on Wednesday, the claim that the hearings were boring, providing supporters with safe ground is important to Trump's future. Most politicians are willing to go pretty far out on rhetorical limbs to advance what they see as their political interest. What they don't like is to be exposed as fools soon after doing so. The real importance of the smoking gun tape that ended Richard Nixon's presidency was that it discredited his supporters, repeating what turned out to be lies, and convinced them that Nixon would go on to doing that to them as long as they are willing to stick with him. They might have been willing to let him shred the Constitution, but they weren't looking to look like idiots. Trump is repeatedly giving Republicans that same choice. So far, they've been willing to go along, but each time he pushes them, it makes it a little more likely they'll eventually make the same choice that Republicans made in August 1974. Critics against his campaign. Facing friendly fire from GOP critics and lagging in the polls, Donald Trump is trying to sink his own campaign. Representative Andre Carson contended Thursday. It appears as if he knows he will not be the next president of the United States, so he's trying to sabotage this thing because he's not used to losing, Carson said during a press briefing in the Capitol. Trump, who's led a remarkably provocative campaign since launching his bid last summer, has grown only more combative since solidifying the Republican nomination at the party's national convention in Cleveland last month. In recent weeks, the Manhattan billionaire has attacked the family of a slain U.S. soldier, defended Russian aggression in the Baltics, kicked a crying baby out of a campaign event, and suggested that gun enthusiasts could somehow prevent Hillary Clinton from appointing liberal judges. The episodes have defied the hopes and predictions of national Republican leaders, who were expecting Trump to soften his tone as he shifted his sights from the GOP primary to the bigger state of the general election, losing votes. In response, a growing number of Republicans on and off Capitol Hill have said they simply can't support their nominee. A few have said they'll vote instead for Clinton, the Democratic hopeful. Carson said Trump's ego, his political inexperience, and an absence of able handlers have conspired to hobby this campaign. It's clear that Trump doesn't have people around him, or he hasn't had people around him who can correct him. And when you're in a political life, you often have to answer either to the press and most importantly to your constituents, and he has not had those levers of accountability, Carson said at a press conference with other House Democrats in Washington that was focused on the Zika virus. So it's clear when he sees poll numbers declining, he's crying like a baby, and what you're seeing is not a meltdown, but something who's trying to sabotage himself to clear the way for President Clinton. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the two videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.